Hello and welcome to episode 151 of the Cutie Art Crusaders for June 2nd, 2015. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and host of this week's podcast, and today I'm joined by
Flutterguy317. I'm the media manager and this week the editor of the podcast.
And I'm Atmospark. I own the questions and the deviant art and stuff, and I'm happy I wasn't waiting for Burned.
Well, we had to wait for you, so... No,
but I was waiting for him to say his name. He's not here.
It's true. It's true.
That's true, yeah.
Burned is away this week.
It's because he's at Everfree Northwest, that lucky guy.
Well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, he's
That's
off
right.
Everfree Northwest.
There's a cat watching him pee, so...
So, as usual, he's sending us back weird text messages.
The Post-it Pony is at Everfree Northwest, I guess. And, yeah.
All right. So yeah, well, he'll probably blurb stuff when he comes back next week. So look forward to that. If you were at Everfree Northwest, because it's coming out on Tuesday. If you were at Everfree Northwest and you didn't go and say hi to him, then wow, jeez,
just rude. God.
Yeah, rude. So speaking of things that are happening to people who are no, you're on the podcast, aren't you, Joel? Anyways, it's your birthday.
Yeah, tomorrow.
It's your birthday.
Tomorrow for me, 2 days for you guys.
Make a wish, it's your birthday.
Yeah, and so it's the 31st of May, correct?
Yeah.
So a couple days in the past of Maru.
Yeah.
For those who are listening to the podcast.
Everybody go wish Joel a happy birthday, belated.
Happy belated birthday if you haven't already. How old are you, Joel? Are you 45 yet?
Over half of that. Ooh.
Over half of 45.
Yeah.
You're gonna be 26, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm 26.
Yeah.
And we're the same age.
Yeah, we are.
You are both really, really old.
Yeah.
Hey.
I feel it too.
Face. Shut it.
Hey, get off of my lawn, you kid.
I had a realization, which is that there will come a point in about a year and a half where I will be the same age as you guys were when I met you.
Yeah.
Which is really creepy to me. Because when I met you guys, I was 18 and you guys were 23. Joel, you might have turned 23 shortly after I met you.
Yeah, because the first thing that we did was his birthday present.
Yes, that's true.
Because you all made us for that.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, like because I'm 21, turning 22 at the end of this year, like it'll be like a year and a half, and then I will be the age that you guys were. Ooh,
guys, it's our 4-year knowing each other anniversary.
No, it's not.
3 year.
Not yet.
It's 3.
Yeah.
That came in April.
Hey, that's what I said. Shush.
Yeah. April and 3 years, not May and 4 years.
Okay, well, it's the anniversary of you guys or Caesars.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. My OC was before yours, but I mean, I really don't want to keep debunking your stuff. It's your birthday.
I think
so
mine
I
was before yours, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but I didn't make mine for your birthday.
Okay.
Burned and Flutterguy both made their OCs for your birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had one like a while
Yeah,
before.
but you and I both had our OCs before then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of like birthday anniversaries, we're gonna be 3 years running in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, I think if I remember correctly, it's like this week is our 3-year anniversary technically. Let me look that up really quick. I'm pretty sure because like episode 1 aired in June, I think. It was either June or July.
Something like that.
But I think it was June. No, it was July. So July 3rd, 2012 is when our first episode aired.
Okay.
So
and it will be July 7th this year.
Yeah. Which is funny because I guess technically it's July 12th actually.
Yeah.
Because it didn't end up airing when we wanted it to.
Yeah.
But we're going to treat July 3rd as our like big anniversary thing.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, that's going to be in about 4 weeks.
We'll probably have something coming up, but we don't have anything planned right now. But...
I mean, like 3 years isn't really a huge deal. Because
Yeah.
the thing is, right, like the first year is like a year anniversary, right? So that's cool.
Mhm.
And then the second year is like around episode 100, so we did something cool for episode 100, right?
Yeah.
But like the third year, like I don't know. I don't have any plans for it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if we want to come up with something or not, but
Send in fan art. We'll feature it. Maybe
maybe.
do the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It'd be nice to
We'll
receive
come up
fan
with
art.
something. Yeah.
If we receive a bunch of fan art, we'll do something special with it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's my like really half-hearted promise.
We'll do something. Maybe, kind of, sort of. A little bit.
Yeah. All right, now what's this Splatoon thing I see in the
Yeah,
in the
it
talking
is
points?
the only Nintendo game I've ever been excited about coming out, which comes out today.
Oh,
By the
okay.
way, we're not sponsored by it, but it does look pretty cool.
It
I
does.
wish you were sponsored.
It's like
Yeah.
it's a Nintendo third-person shooter, but it's using like it's a whole like it's turf war, but using ink and like you can become a squid.
Didn't it have like really bad commercials?
Yes. But if you ignore the commercials, then it's kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's commercials on Discovery Family, which is
Oh, I don't know. I
the
never see
channel.
it. I don't get that channel.
It's the channel that that Ponies airs on.
Yeah, well, I don't get that channel.
Yeah.
My ponies air on the internet.
Well, I mean, so do mine. Like we all watch a live stream of the channel, so
Yeah.
you're just
RIP.
not awake
Single
when
cluster.
it airs.
No.
Yeah.
It's like midnight when it airs. Probably even later now.
Hmm.
So speaking of fan art, I guess we got a really, really cool piece of fan art from someone,
Mhm.
and we like to occasionally give shout outs when people make us awesome fan art.
Mhm.
So just wanted to shout out Alamex, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna call you Alumx.
Alumx.
I'm
I'm going to assume it's Alamex, even though the
Yeah.
X is not capitalized. But
What about Lumix?
Alumix.
Alumix?
Lumix.
Anyways, he is a Portugal fan from Portuguese fan. Is that right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
probably right. And he made this really awesome art piece that you've been seeing on the screen for the last couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is really cool because I really enjoy Alamex's art in general, and like he really nailed our personalities down in this piece. So, and he said in a response to one of my comments that like he watches our show, so it's like, wow, cool.
yeah, it's I think one of the cool kind of side benefits that we never really get to, like that we don't really talk about, is the fact that like occasionally we will just find artists who watch our show. Like on DeviantArt, when you watch someone and they go to your page, there's a little thing that says watches you, so you know who is watching you based on their page. And so like I'll occasionally go around and look through artists and be like, hey, this is a cool new artist, and then like there'll be a little notification in the top right that's like this artist watches you, and it's like, oh, that's cool. I wonder if they watch the show.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's always interesting too to see like which artists watch the show, like because we'll get fan art from like some random artist that we admire, and it's just like, oh wow, I didn't realize that you actually watched us. That's really cool.
Well, or a situation like this where
Yeah.
I had no idea who this artist was, and I wasn't watching them before. But now they've made fan art, and now I'm going through their entire gallery. There was oh gosh, who
We
was the
featured a
other
few other
person?
things before.
There was an artist who made something for my birthday, I think, and I'm trying to find the art piece. Anyways, I discovered this artist. Oh, it was Shaman Ghuli. No idea who that was. I don't think any of us were following the person. But then he made me a birthday present, and it was like, now I'm watching his gallery, and we featured a couple of his art pieces. So, if you want to get in our good books and make us really cool like fan art, I mean, like it's not even like a request. It's just like it makes sense, right? We're gonna look at it, and then we're gonna be like, wow, that's really good, and then we're gonna look at your gallery, right?
Yeah, or just make pieces of Sunset Shimmer like Alamex did.
Yeah.
And then
Or sorry, not or, and the extra
And.
bonus mark was actually tagging us in the description of the
Yeah.
fan art.
yeah,
Because if you
you
tag
can
someone,
see
if you
it.
put their name, like if you use the DeviantArt like :dev and then the person's name and then another colon, or icon the person's name, then it'll like ping them, and it'll be like, it'll actually show up in your like messages, so I see it. Because if you didn't ping me with this, I would have never seen it. So thank you for doing that. And just a reminder out there, if people want us to see something, to tag us in it.
Tag us individually, all Cutie Art Crusaders, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, individually is better because
Either.
most of us don't surf around the Cutie Art Crusaders account.
I do remember.
But
I know
I know
Nazagorian
that.
tags us.
Yeah, I was
a
about
lot.
to say
Yeah.
that Nazagorian will occasionally find art pieces that she really likes and will tag us and be like, "Hey guys, you should check this out."
Yeah.
And even if it's in a comment, we like it pings our account so we can see it. So that's not always a bad idea either. You know, you don't have to send it to us via email. You can just ping us on DeviantArt, and we'll totally see that.
Yeah. So speaking of LMX, Joel, you have our first art piece.
Oh, do I?
You want to go ahead?
I didn't realize it was first. Okay. So I chose this one. It's called Spring is Here by, obviously, LMX. And it's a Rainbow Dash and Tank. And they're snuggled because it's spring and he's no longer dead.
Wow.
Just coming right out and saying
Resurrection. I mean, there's unicorns.
So-
I'm sure there's resurrection of some sort in the pony world.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is from one of the recent season 5 episodes. And it's really cute. I like it. It's got a very cute and warm vibe to it, which I think is interesting because the piece itself and its colors don't scream warm. They scream very cold and gray and dull.
Well, it all depends on where you're looking because like the surroundings are definitely very cool. Like the light coming in at the top and the whole like vignetting is cool colored. But like Tank himself is pretty warm colored, and so is Rainbow Dash has this like warm glow on her.
And I think a lot of it too comes from kind of like the emotions that kind of convey that as well. You know, they definitely kind of radiate. They radiate a certain emotion, and when I look at an art piece, like how I feel about it isn't just isolated to its colors or its expressions or something. It's kind of like a combination of everything.
Yeah, I like the line style that LMX used in this piece.
It changes a lot.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like if you look in Dash's wing, like at the top, it's very fuzzy, like very fine tipped, almost like lineless. But if you go like down to her wingtip, it gets more defined, and then it gets very like loose, and it changes up quite a bit throughout the piece. It's really neat.
Yeah, you can see it especially in her like hind hoofs. You know, like as it goes around them. It gets kind of like really jagged and loose and stuff like that. And you can see it in her hair as well. Again, for the majority of it, there's no outline, but then you see it kind of creeping out. It's almost like he's like selectively chosen where he feels like the best areas for these outlines would be.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting too because like I guess mostly with lined versus lineless, like especially in this kind of piece, I think lines help to separate out features where the value and the color shift isn't that drastic. But like if you look in Dash's shoulder, for instance, there isn't really a line there. It's all fuzzy, but the value shifts like very abruptly, so it's very well defined.
Mm-hmm.
But like in other places, like that line kind of helps separate it out, give it some definition.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting.
Also, that size. You realize how big this thing is?
Yeah. It's massive.
6,000 by 3,600.
I like it.
And we're going to have to start like producing in 4K. Jeez.
I appreciate the larger sized pieces. You know, like when you make amazing art pieces, you have to realize that people want to use that somewhere. They want to see it around, right? So whether or not it be prints and
like a billboard,
like having a larger pixel size for your prints is good because you can print larger prints or more detailed prints, right? So that's a big benefit right there. But also places like, you know, wallpapers, phone backgrounds, all that kind of stuff. People want to use your art places, right? So, you know, it's great to see this because a picture like this can be sized down, but you can't size up a picture gracefully.
Yeah.
No. Also gives people the opportunity to sort of look at it in full size and look in and see the details, see the brushwork, and see what's going on behind the scenes.
Joel, if you want to buy a billboard and put this up there, then, you know.
It seems excessively expensive. What is the going rate on billboards?
Too much dollars. Yeah.
There's also that that weird sort of the red-green 3D thing going on here as well.
Yeah.
Like all over the background.
A little color shifting.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of the red and cyan has been split like all over the background underneath her and
Yeah.
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 It's interesting because I've been doing a lot of like photography work lately, and like that on lenses is called chromatic aberration because like the hues kind of shift and you get like these almost fuzzy places. So it could be that Alex was going for something like that, especially because it's kind of more towards the outsides of the piece. So it's like vignetted and has these chromatic aberrations on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is neat.
Anaglyph, that's the word. That's what I was looking for.
Anaglyph. Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
There's also some interesting areas in the piece where there's very, very loose and vague brushwork. The tail is one of them where it's just got a couple of colors and it's all swirlies.
Mm-hmm. The cutie mark is really blank, really, really, really simple.
Yeah, yeah, but it's hidden, so it's fine. And the back wing as well, you can just see the tip of it. If you follow her back hoof down, you can see the tip of her wing, but it's not even like technically colored in properly.
It's not even formed, it's just a smudge.
Yeah.
Just like a couple of lines, and one of the lines is like kind of doesn't make sense, and it's but you know, like that's totally fine, right? Because they're not supposed to be the focal parts of this piece. They're just little filler bits so that your brain fills it out when you view what's supposed to be looked at in this piece, which is...
But even the stuff you're supposed to look at is just really loose brushwork, really splodges of paint. Like if you look on British's eye, the shading there is just a splodge of green paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like this is the kind of art piece that really lends itself to having a large canvas because it's supposed to be zoomed out to a point where those kind of things blend together. It's not something...
Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, I mean, you can look it up close, but I just don't think it's the kind of thing that's like meant to be looked up close, you know?
Yeah. It's like Impressionist style paintings, like the Water Lilies by Claude Monet. Like, if you look at it up close, it's like just splodges of color, but if you step back, it's like, oh, hey, it's actually a painting. Yeah.
I'm trying to...
I really enjoy the... Huh?
I'm trying to remember what you're saying.
The Water Lilies?
Yeah,
Claude Monet?
I can't think of that off the top of my head.
Google it.
I'm Googling it.
I really do like the way that focus is done in this piece, because you have a lot of like subtle things to kind of shift your eye towards like Rainbow Dash and Tank. You have this bright flower at the bottom, which ordinarily I'd say kind of draws your focus to it, but I think because the stem is also very bright, it kind of pushes your focus upwards, and then you have the bright lights kind of coming downwards from the top that pushes your focus downwards and in towards the center. And then of course you have this vignette around it.
Well, there's a very obvious middle third of the piece, which is where your focus lies. You know, it's not the middle third isn't like if you slice this piece vertically into thirds, right? Then this middle third is the one that contains Rainbow Dash, Tank, the lights up at the top, the flower down at the bottom, right? Like that's supposed to be the part of the piece that you look at. So the flower kind of fills out the bottom part of that middle third, so that your focus is drawn along like almost like a vertical line up and down, starting with the flower or starting with the lights and going vice versa.
Yeah.
Speaking of rule of thirds, it's also thirds going horizontally too, because you got that solid line pretty much with the background where it goes from blue to like cool to warm, and then again with that flower, as you can see the horizontal lines coming out of that, like the lens flare type thing. That's almost exactly thirds.
Yeah.
We have to have a composition episode at one point.
Yeah.
Still, there's so much to talk about with it.
I've always been of the attitude that people will be motivated by the things that they want to do. So we haven't seeked the motivation yet. Nobody's been motivated enough to do it. So nobody evidently wants to do it enough. So if you want to do it, guys, then get on that.
Fine, I'll take the hint.
Find that motivation.
Yeah. Fantastic piece, though. I really like it. I also really like this kind of like splotchy texture that's on the background. This white, just like almost sponge kind of texture in the background. It's very loose. Just kind of gives it some definition. Very nice.
Cool.
All right, so Max, you're next.
All right, so my art piece is called Twilight's Me Time by Late Customer.
Dave.
Late Customer being a friend of the show, so hi Dave. I know you're going to be listening to this. What day are you listening to this, Dave? Is it July yet? You slacker. I'm joking.
I think I think he's way behind too.
I think he is. So this piece is of Aloe and Lotus, the spa ponies, giving Twilight a squishy massage. And our friend Dave has recently been ramping up his art production. He's going to be coming with us to BronyCon, and he has a table there. So he's wanted to make some get back into the pony business and make some awesome, big, fully fleshed out pieces. So he's made a couple of them recently, and I'm sure we'll probably feature some more of them in the future. But for now, I really enjoyed this one. It's got a really interesting color scheme, I think. I think Aloe and Lotus, the spa ponies themselves, already have a pretty interesting color scheme. And when you add purple into it, not only in the background, but obviously in Twilight, it just kind of like blends into this. It's like all the colors in between red and blue, are kind of represented here. And I think that's cool.
Because normally the spa ponies stick out like a sore thumb because of their color scheme. But in this one, they don't. They sort of blend into everything. Everything is the same sort of color.
Yeah, they're kind of like part of the scale now,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not really, I mean, it's not analogous, but there's a certain color palette in this, and Dave kind of stuck to it throughout the whole thing, which is really cool.
Yeah, there are very few breaches to the form, if you will. Even the pillow and the whatever you call it, the massage table that she's lying on is red. And the stuff in the background is mostly blues or reds, with the exception of one with a yellow label and one with an orange, one orange one in the back right there, which is really interesting because you can really see the power of color at work here, because that orange one in the back right really stands out. And I know Dave is listening to this and he's like, I didn't even know that was orange, because Dave is colorblind. But it's interesting how you can tell, like it definitely stands out in this piece as something that like draws your attention over. And I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but that's the power of color theory right there.
I kind of want to know what's in the bottle next to Lotus there, with the little pony on it. Is it pony oil?
Yeah, I don't know. We've got lots of little weird things.
Foal oil.
Something with like
because baby oil.
There's something with a lot of like bubbles on it. It's like a fat container, and then there's that like squiggly one on the left that's kind of like that bluey container.
I think that little jar literally contains bubbles.
It's just it's
actually
bath.
Derpies in there.
Yeah,
jar bubbles.
Yeah, and the one on the left is pure liquid incense. I don't know. It kind of looks like something that you'd burn.
It's a worm. It's full of worms.
Oh, lovely. I see.
It's a massage worm.
It's a massage worm. Ooh. I really like how Dave does his ponies in kind of like a semi-squishy fashion. And you can really see it in this piece, obviously, because of the massage that Twilight's getting. Joel, your girlfriend loves Aloe and Lotus. Which one's Aloe and which one's Lotus?
Aloe is the pink one.
Okay, so Lotus is doing the massaging there. And you can see kind of how squishy the ponies that he makes are. But he also does it in a lot of other ways. He gives a lot of definition to the bodies and shapes them in a way. For example, if you look at Aloe's back, you can see that kind of like groove in the back, which if you will look at your own back, you will probably also have. It's a feature that a lot of things with backs have. And in a lot of his other pieces, also he shows off kind of like the squishiness and the moldableness of ponies as well. Like
they're made of Play-Doh.
Their hooves will have squishes and stuff. So it's cool.
Yeah. And they're also a bit like a little bit thicker than the show, I think. So it's a little bit more like
right. He gives substance to them for sure.
Yeah, it's not like what Grenadier
with
like
his fat
massive
hooves,
yeah. But they are a bit more voluminous.
Yeah, and you can tell in other things like, for example, the muzzle. So what he has a really interesting. It's subtle, but it's an original muzzle style where he likes to make them a bit more flat and in a way bigger, like you were mentioning before. There's another one that he did of Lotus that was a request of Silver, actually. And we should put this on the show as well. You can tell, especially in this one, it was just a quick little sketchy thing. and you can see the kind of square muzzle that he kind of goes for, and you can see it again on Lotus in this piece as well. When you view the muzzle on straight on, it's got that kind of like a square look to it. It flattens out at the bottom.
Yeah. I really like Dave's shading style, and I know I've said this like every single time that we bring up a piece of his, but it's really apparent in Twilight, in this one, like in her haunch, how he uses this stepped level hard shading. And it's really just 2 steps, but it's interesting because it does give it a little bit of definition, but it also kind of makes it really crisp and, comic book like, which is, Dave is a comic artist.
Yeah,
so.
he is. So I think a good reason for why that's done is because when you have hard shading where it's just one, like you're either shaded or you're not, it can feel very, very hard. There's a hard edge between what's shaded and what's not, and sometimes, things don't always fit that model, and sometimes the feeling that gives off isn't always the best. So when you have this 2-step shading, you can shade something really dark without it being this big, huge cutoff of like, well, why does it suddenly become so much lighter, right? You'll notice that on Aloe's back, it's only really got 1-step shading, right? It's like shaded and not. But it's okay because most of it is, and the shading itself is quite light comparatively.
Yeah.
Right? So that's okay because it's not a huge, harsh change and it doesn't really matter. But in other places where he wants more of a subtle shift, like in Aloe's hair or on Twilight, as you mentioned, he puts in the 2-step shading because it kind of smooths it out while keeping the crispness of it.
Well, it's interesting too because like on Aloe's back, like you were saying, like the majority of it is this lighter shade, but he also uses the darker shade for shadows and stuff, like where her mane is and whatnot.
Yeah, it's kind of what he's got like a shade and a shadow.
Yeah. So the darkest part is supposed to be a shadow, and the rest is just kind of shading to smooth it out.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy, the crispness of what Dave does. He's experimented a bit with soft shading, and he does a good job with that as well. But I like how neat everything is when it's hard shaded like this. All of his characters are one color, and if he wants to accomplish a different color on them, he adds a layer on top of it. But that layer itself is one color, and I really enjoy that. It reminds me a lot of the show, but obviously done in a much more advanced way than what the show can do.
Yeah. Man, I wish I was Twilight right now.
Oh man,
Right?
Dave owes me a massage at BronyCon.
Oh.
Totally owes me one.
Do you think he owes me one too?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him, but he definitely owes me one. So.
Or we could all take a trip to the spa.
Oh man, I've never actually been to a spa before.
Yeah, same.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
You should go.
we should. Yeah, I don't know. I really like the piece. I like Dave's work. There's another one that he just did recently that I really enjoyed too, and we'll have to bring that up at a future date.
Yeah, there's a number of them
It's good.
that I want to talk about. Unfortunately, I think that there's a lot of Dave knows what he does well, and he does it very well. So it can be sometimes difficult, for us when talking about a multitude of pieces. We went over a lot of what Dave does really well for this art piece, but if we were to bring up another one, it's kind of like, well, he continues to do that really well, and sometimes it's really hard to pick out when someone has an anatomy style that is really, really good. It's hard to always assess that one. When someone does crazy things with shading, when someone does vignettes, when someone does like crazy experimental lighting and things like that, you can pick out those things and talk about them. But when someone just does anatomy really well, like Dave does, it's really hard to talk about other than like, man, his ponies look really, really, really good. Like his anatomy is like top 5 for me, in terms of pony artists. Like I love it. I think it's amazing, but it's hard to really talk about what makes it so good other than it looks aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. And I don't really know what really kind of makes it different from the show other than like, just more curves, softer feeling, squishier ponies, and like larger hooves. That's
but I feel like even that's like a stretch. We had to really think about that.
Yeah, but I think he also kind of gives them a little bit more of an anthro-ish style.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think he brings a
Like
lot
with
of
shoulders
inspiration
and
from
stuff.
humans. That the small of the back there, yes, maybe
Mhm.
technically things with the back would have that, but I think that was probably inspired by a human pose there,
Yeah.
and he's got very defined shoulders on his ponies.
Mhm.
That's a really unique thing about him. So I think that brings a really big humanizing element to it as well. You can see in this piece that both Aloe and Lotus are sitting up in a way that almost doesn't even show off that they're ponies at all, and the way that their shoulders are portrayed it's very, very anthropied.
Mhm.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. Cool.
Anyways, let's move on to the next piece.
All right, so my piece that I brought is called Into the Witch's Lair by Leakfish. And this is a request from Felony Mayhem of Fluttershy as Madoka, who is a magical girl in the anime Madoka Magica, which actually I saw this art piece and then I was like, I should watch that show because I'd never seen it before. And so then I watched the show and I was like, oh, cool.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No clue whatsoever.
Yeah. So there's an anime.
That's all you need to say.
Yeah.
There's an anime. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep.
Although to be fair, let's be honest, you could guess it by the costume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty anime costume.
I was like, that
It
reminds
is,
me
yeah.
of like card captors.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is either.
Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon, yeah.
Oh.
Tokyo Mew Mew. All right, let's not go there.
So first of all, thank you, Leakfish, for actually getting me into that anime because it was really, really amazing and dark and good. But this art piece is also fantastic. I like Leakfish's style. I like the textures that are on it. I like the vignette of like the crazy polygon shapes and stuff around it. And
Yeah,
there's a lot of cool things.
It's in a weird realm of sorts where it's very gritty and very shapely in a way. It's just kind of floating in this. Is it some sort of reference to the show, or was it supposed to represent something?
Yeah, there's like two different realms almost in the show. There's like the normal world, and then there's like the witches world or witches lairs and stuff. And it's interesting in the show because like they have completely different art styles in the two different. So this kind of is a reference to that.
Oh, I see. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy just kind of the different components of this piece. So you have like Fluttershy, and then you have obviously the vignette, which I talked about, and then you have these sunspot things, lens flares.
Yeah, I'm really impressed whenever someone manages to pull off like a really complex costume. You know, like as someone who's been around artists and who is like occasionally for fun at the request of others attempted to draw a pony. Like anatomy is hard enough by itself, right?
Yeah.
Adding in clothing which folds and doesn't completely contour but kind of contours around the body, that's a whole nother level that I can't even imagine. So I'm always impressed when I see something like this, which is quite complex.
Yeah. Well, because you did the Pinkie Pie Rainbow Dash that vector, right? A little while ago. Where
Did I do that? Did
costume?
I do the clothes on that too?
I think so.
The only thing I remember is I made an Octavia vinyl scratch version of it, which went insane because people like vinyl scratch on Octavia.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. I must have vectored the original, but I don't remember if I vectored the clothes.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Like any sort of complicated clothing is very difficult, just because of the way that it folds and stuff. And
vectoring
like,
clothing is impossible.
Yeah. There's a certain organic element to it that is hard to be recreated in such a precise art style like vectoring.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're painting something, it's a little bit. One of the advantages of painting over vectoring is that it can feel much more organic because it's based on your hand, and your hand is, while you can practice it, you can also make it kind of random and so. Yeah,
flows.
there's an appeal to that. Yeah, there's a flow to it that you don't get in vectoring as well. Vectoring is very precise, but there's a flow to digital art and traditional, of course.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy to make it flow.
Yeah. And I think, speaking of flowing, the hair in this piece is a great example of that. It's got a very big flow to it, and it's almost like it looks like it's almost colored in like with like pencil crayons. Oh, sorry, that's not.
Yeah.
You guys don't call that.
Pencil crayon, colored pencils.
Colored pencils, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a Canadian thing. But it looks like it's colored in with those, and so it's almost like it's mixing digital, which is the surroundings, with traditional, which is the character.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too because the character design is very far from what Leakfish normally does, where it's like basically lineless.
Right.
But there's these like certain lines, I guess, of definition, like in her muzzle and her wing and her ear and stuff. But yeah, other than that, like it's very removed from what Leakfish normally does with her lined style of ponies.
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously still see the inspiration. We talked about anatomy on the last piece, and Leakfish has got a very distinct anatomy to her ponies in the way that the muzzle is done, especially. But yeah, the style itself is very different from what I think I would traditionally associate with Leakfish. Although obviously she's a fantastic artist, so she can do a variety of styles very well.
Yeah. I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and when it first came out, I was enamored by its cuteness. So
yeah, and again, I think that comes a lot from Leakfish's inherent pony style as well, which is that mystical word style that everybody, when they start as an artist, wants, and anybody who's an artist that actually has it has no idea how they got it. They just drew until they did something that was comfortable, right? So, yeah. Well, that's fine. We can move on to the questions if we'd like.
Okay. Okay. So we have 3 because there is only 3 of us, and we are plenty of time left.
We do.
So, Dad, I can't see that question. Okay. So the first question we've got is by one of the artists we featured today. It's by Dave. Read this whole thing. If you got to design the outline of the official My Little Pony game, what game would it be? What would be your design choices? Keep in mind the game, like the show, is technically aimed at a younger audience, but you're fully aware of the vast unintended audience you could also tap into. Speaking of tapping into, Max?
I mean, so this is weird because I've never, I guess, like, I'm professionally a game programmer now, so.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm the most qualified to speak about it. That's weird.
Well, I think what Dave wants is for us to come up with a document and then a strategy for implementing this.
Yeah, really, like,
and a timeline with Gantt charts and everything.
It was such like a long and detailed thing. It was like, do you want a design document? Like, do you want me to pitch you a game? Like,
yeah.
So
it's got to be freemium, and I'm gonna take like a quarter of the profits. Sorry, a third because there's 3 of us.
Please no, I work in freemium games right now. Let's not do.
I know you are literally the devil incarnate.
I'm not. It's not the best. It's fine. So here's my thought. Everybody, when they grow up, has a game that they want to recreate when they're a game programmer. And you can see it in people's works, right? When game programmers come up with ideas, you can distinctly tell what their influences are, and they're trying to recreate something from their childhood that they really enjoyed. It's a very common thing to see. So, here's the thing that I would do in the same vein. My favorite game of all time is a game called Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. It is a very simplified RPG with lots of comedy, fantastic writing, unique characters, and a simple-to-understand but incredibly complex combat system for their turn-based RPG. In addition to that, it has what I like to call active turn-based combat. Games like Final Fantasy, I haven't played too much Final Fantasy, so I might just be completely talking about my butt here, but games like, for example, Final Fantasy, you take your turn, you attack, and the opponent takes their turn and they attack you, and there's nothing you can do about it. The opponent can't defend, you can't attack, that kind of thing. In Paper Mario, what you can do is if you time things correctly, it's like almost doing like little meta games within the fight itself. You can reduce the damage or prevent a certain thing from happening, and it all comes down to timing. You have to figure out that timing and when you can do it and all that kind of stuff. It's an incredible game, and if you enjoy RPGs, I would go check it out. And so I like all of those aspects, and I think all of those aspects could work wonderfully in an MLP game. There's a partner system in Paper Mario where you have partners that you can swap back and forth in, and they do unique things outside in the world, but they also do unique things inside battle, and you can battle with them. So that would work great, I think. You can take along your favorite pony with you. You could make your own, maybe that's the main character, but you could bring along one or two or multiple other ponies with you. You could explore the world around you and meet interesting characters as you solve puzzles and progress. You add in that humor that Paper Mario is famous for, that clever writing, and I think, My Little Pony is the perfect opportunity to do that. They have quite clever writing in the show. Translate that into the game. Have the people writing the show write the game, and you can get great results. And, overall, I'm a big believer that you can't dumb down kids shows, right? You shouldn't dumb down kids shows because kids are smart and they can handle more things than you think that they can. And that's one of the reasons why MLP is so successful, not only with a demographic like us, but also with a demographic that's younger, It's a very smart show and it doesn't look down. We talked recently in one of our spoiler casts about the tank episode, the Rainbow Dash and Tank episode, and how it was an analogy for death and it was very sad. And I said I was impressed because they didn't look down on the kids who were watching it, So people might look at it and they say, oh, it's a battle RPG, that's too mature for kids, it's too violent. Absolutely not. I do not believe that in the slightest, and I think that it would appeal to young kids as well as older adults as well, and I would love to see a game made like that, and I think it would fit perfectly.
I think I like your ideas, and I think that a quarter of the game needs to be character design, and we need to have some, DLC for the...
Well, no, but
screw that.
look, wait. You were kind of mocking there, but yeah. I'm very much in belief that nowadays we are in the age of the individual, right?
Yeah.
And everybody wants to have their own custom experience, their own character, their own whatever. You can see it in tons of games nowadays. And this isn't the gaming industry attempting to influence the players. This is a direct result of the players saying, we want more customizations. We want our own levels. We want our own experience. We want our own characters. We want our own stories, all that kind of stuff. So absolutely, that would work fantastically in an MLP game. You have to have that customization. You have to have that character customization, deep character customization. You have to have the custom interactions with characters, relationships with characters, like how you interact with them, You can maybe be favorable towards some characters that you like and maybe less favorable towards other characters that you don't like, right? And have those modular reactions that are dependent on how you interact with each of the characters. I think that would all, again, work wonderfully in such a character-driven show like MLP.
See, originally I was going to say like a Kingdom Hearts-like thing, which I think is very similar to
it sounds. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts. I've seen people play it a little bit, but it sounds very, very similar in concept.
But now, like, that you mentioned, like the customization, I think like a world building type game, almost like a cross between something like Paper Mario or Kingdom Hearts and like a Minecraft or a Sims or something like that, where you can kind of build your own Ponyville and then like. I don't know.
So the influences of my job just came out and was just like, you could make a mobile game where you make your own Ponyville. And then I'm like, no, let's not go there. Then we get into freemium stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, technically that's a thing too. It could be a part of the game is that you build your own Ponyville. You build up your own towns and you can unlock certain things like Sweet Apple Acres. And where does that go? You get to decide, right? So.
Joel, what would you do?
I don't know. First person shooter.
Yeah. MLP, MLG Pro.
Yeah. That.
MLP Pro.
Maybe a racing game like Mario Kart.
Ooh.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Pony Kart was a thing before it died.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people were making Pony Kart and they just stopped.
Yeah.
And then someone's going to comment being like, no, it's still going. It's been like 3 years, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, and technically there's been a fighting game too, so.
Yeah.
It
Plenty
just got-
platformer.
See, indeed. Platformer wouldn't be a bad idea either. I think honestly, My Little Pony would do the best on handhelds.
Yeah.
I think smaller scale. You can introduce interesting mechanics that are fun and kind of unique and in a way gimmicky. But gimmicky isn't always a bad word.
I would get a first pony shooter.
But I just think that a 3DS pony game would be the place where would be the best place for it.
I would
really
get
a
that.
fan.
I would pre-order that game.
Yeah. I'm not really a fan of like the whole mobile like touchscreen games because buttons, and I like.
But the
buttons in my
3DS
games.
is
But the
still a
3DS
wonderful gaming console
Yeah, it is.
for
Something like
button presses.
Yeah, so the 3DS would be prime.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking like mobile as in like phones. I was thinking mobile as in
Yeah.
like handhelds, like a 3DS or any of the other competition that isn't as good as the 3DS.
PS Vita.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's move on to the next question. I guess. Sorry, I took up most of that time.
Okay, so next question. I was expecting it was a question about video games. Second question is, if you were going to invent a revolutionary new method of transport, what would it be? By Totally Carbon.
Don't worry, you can have a tiny share of the profits once I patent them and sell your ideas to the world.
What he said.
Wow.
Wow. Well, that's part of the question. All right, so stick with me. First, we make the game I described above. Then, we completely skip town with the video game and spend all the funding that we were going to spend on the revolutionary new method of transport on making more games. All right, good. Great.
Hey.
But seriously, I have no idea.
See, here's the thing, right? Like,
You started out, friends.
we started out friends. No,
What's that from?
It's a song.
it's a song.
But which song?
It's a song that starts like that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
You're,
anyhow.
you're like, what do you mean which song? And then neither one of you actually knows the song.
I don't know the name. No.
I don't know the name either.
All right.
But anyhow, I think like it's not a revolutionary new method of transport, but I think that self-driving cars, once they kind of get to be good enough and to be kind of norm, will actually completely revolutionize the way that we kind of move throughout the world.
Right.
And I think like there was an article in either Wired or Popular Science a few years ago about like the future of cars and stuff. And one of the ideas is that like you would get onto the highway with your self-driving car, and it would basically like form up into a train of other self-driving cars. So you would kind of like reduce the wind resistance on your vehicle, and like there would be no traffic because everything's flowing perfectly.
Yeah, it would just slot you in.
Yeah.
But what happens when you need to exit the highway? You and the other 500 cars behind you would all exit the highway.
Yeah, and you all go to a party.
Well,
and
I mean,
then
it wouldn't like magnetize to you.
No.
It
would unslot you, basically.
Well, I think the cool thing about that is, as well, I'm sure some highways would stay wide, but a lot of the highways don't need to be as wide as they are.
Mm-hmm.
So you could shorten so a lot of 2-lane highways could become 1-lane highways, and because of the efficiency of the car. I mean, it would require you to. It's almost like they would need to build expressways only for automatic cars.
Yeah. Kind of like how they have diamond lanes now for carpool.
Yeah, because like it would be too difficult to have a mass of automatic cars and someone who wants to go manually, because that person's just going to mess everything else up, It depends on how advanced the automatic cars are.
Yeah. That being said, like, I do hope that once automatic cars are kind of the norm, you can still drive manually, because driving is a lot of fun.
I'm on board with the automatic driving cars. I enjoy driving, I really do, but there's some times where I'm just like, I just wish I was somewhere and I didn't have to drive there.
And the thing about like the whole, highway automatic driving car train thing is like, basically once you're on the highway, like the car train can go, a lot faster than current cars go on the highway.
Right. So here's my idea. I don't know what my idea actually is, but as long as it is faster, planes are great because I can go from my place to anywhere in the world in under 36 hours. That's cool. I like that. It's a very short time as opposed to driving somewhere. Like last February, Ted, when I drove down to your place, it was 9 hours to drive from Ottawa to where you live.
Yeah.
It's a long time. It's a really long time.
Yeah.
How many states did you go across there?
4?
2.
2? Well, it depends on what you mean by go across.
Because it was just New York and then Connecticut.
Like how many states
but I
did you
think
go?
I
How
had
many
to go
states did you
through
go through?
Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, you probably had to go through Mass.
Because Silver and I drove down to BronyCon in Sydney, and that was about 12 hours, and we didn't even cross one state.
Right. Well, Australia's
Huge.
got bigger states.
Yeah.
It's the same size as the states, but only with 6 states.
Yeah, I had to go through New York, Massachusetts, and then Connecticut. So 3.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't care what the type of transportation is, so long as it's faster.
They actually, there was, what's the word? Like, not plans, but like, I'll just use the word. They're not, theoretically, there we go. There was a theoretical high-speed train design that never stopped. Like the actual high-speed train itself never stopped. It just went in a ring between 2 cities. But the way you get on and off is you go to a station and you sit in this like train car type thing, and then what it does is when the train is coming up behind the station, it speeds you up to the same speed as the train, and it slots you into one of the train cars, and then the one that's there gets out and like would have come out just before the station, and then that one goes up to the station where you can get on and off.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So I want to be in something that can take me, like there's a certain threshold of time, right? Where like I want to go to the West Coast for a weekend. I would like to visit you, Ted, in something that would normally take a car length in an airplane length that's cheaper, right? If it's an airplane, I'm totally fine with that. Just make airplanes cheaper, right? But I would love to be able to go from something that takes, let's say, 8 hours via car. I want to shorten that to 2 hours. I want something that's a quarter of the time of what it normally is, So, like, I don't know how long it takes to get from the east side of the United States to the west side or Canada. It's the same thing.
6 hours or so.
How many?
6 hours.
6 sorry, what?
It's like 6 hours to get from the east coast to the west coast.
Okay, well, it's much longer in Canada. So I'm thinking I
well,
don't...
because you have the extra, it's like splayed out at the top, so yeah.
Do you mean by
like
car?
8. No.
I'm talking
by
about
plane.
car. I was like, you're crazy.
Oh, by car.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so
6
so
hours
like,
would be nice.
however long it is by car, I want that to be like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I want to go visit Burned and for it to take 4 hours. Okay? Those are the requirements that I have. So whatever the thing is that can get me to that point where I can visit you or go to BronyCon in 2 hours, and I can visit the West Coast and people like Burned and Los Angeles in 4 hours, whatever that is, I support it.
So think tank people who are watching this, like, there's your goals. Get on it.
Exactly. Those are my requirements. East Coast to East Coast in 2 hours tops, East Coast to West Coast or vice versa in 4 hours. Those are my requirements.
There was also, I don't know if there's actually been ever physical experiments, but there's been, again, theoretically, a train which exists which can travel up to 6 times the speed of sound.
Wow.
It's a maglev in a vacuum tunnel, so no air resistance.
Yeah.
So there is no speed of sound. There is nothing to slow it down, and there's no friction because it's maglev.
Yeah.
That's true.
So the only issue is you need a vacuum tube, basically.
Yeah. But once they get that happening, you can get according to this, you can get to between Beijing and New York in about 2 hours.
Wow.
Would totally be up for that. Like I'd love to be able to let's put another marker. I'd love to be in Australia in 8 hours.
Right.
That's another one.
Yeah.
If you say 10, I'll take that too. It's like, what is it now? Is it like 28?
Something like that, yeah.
To get between here and the States?
Yeah.
It took us,
East Coast,
24 hours. It would have been about 24 hours solid flying.
Okay. Because I know Duel's coming up for BronyCon, and it's taking him much longer than that. So.
Yeah, he's flying from some weird place in the middle of nowhere.
It's true.
Yeah. They do have that scramjet that they were experimenting with a few
Yeah,
years
the
ago.
X15.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, which can get
Which,
Mark 7, I think.
yeah, and we'll do like New York to London in like 2 hours or whatever. But
Totally fine with that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
I'd take that.
Yeah.
Again, it has to be affordable though.
Yeah.
All right, Joel, what's your answer?
The 2 trains that I just talked about.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, last question. We'll do it quick.
Or a jet-powered bicycle.
They have those already.
Yeah, but they're not commercial. Somebody's made them in the backyard.
Yeah.
Also powered by an F-15 engine.
Last question.
What is your second favorite food group by Smooth Sailing Pony?
Second favorite food group? Have we ever mentioned it? Like, is there a reason why he's asking second? Have
Nope.
we mentioned our favorite food group?
Nope. He's just smooth.
See, but I have to
That's
figure
what he
out
does.
what my favorite food group is now.
Butts.
I know, and then figure out
My
second
favorite food group is butts. All right, now that we've established that, I need to figure out my second favorite food group.
Also butts.
That's
So-
what I was gonna say. Yeah.
I'm just gonna, there's a traditional definition of food groups. Throw that out the window. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna list a group of food, type of thing that I like. I'm gonna say spicy food. Spicy
Okay.
food is my second favorite food group. And the reason why it's second is because my mouth enjoys it, but the rest of me doesn't.
So true.
Yeah.
Well, if we're going like that with categorizations of like food group for food in
Well,
general,
what are you gonna say?
like,
Dairy, like meats?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because they all combine into the actual food, so it's like like I could say pizza, and that would be every single food group. So it's
just be more
More general.
generic. Just be more general about it.
yeah. Well, see, okay, so my favorite is probably savory foods.
Okay, sure.
So
But that's not
my
a food
second.
group.
Oh,
have,
shut
you,
up.
have you not seen the food triangle?
Shut up. About your
Food
triangles.
triangle. The new food triangle is a lie.
There should be a food
Yeah.
circle.
So yeah, savory is probably the top, and then I think the second would probably be I don't know, is like crisp, like a food, like
okay.
salads, like it's not savory,
Crispy
it's not
things.
sweet,
No,
it's like
all right. I said broad definitions. Crispy things is a thing.
I don't know, it's like fresh, I guess.
Yeah.
No, crispy
Go-
things is a thing. Crispy things is absolutely a thing. When I get
Yeah.
sushi, I like sushi that's got crispy
Yeah.
stuff in it. I love it.
Yeah,
So I'm totally on board.
but I'm talking about like the fresh crispy, not like the crispy like Rice Krispies crispy, but like
All right, then you've got a
Like-
very strange definition. I thought I had a weird definition of food groups.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like like salads or sushi. Sushi is a good one. Like it's not like savory and like filling. It's just like it's a light bite that is
Yeah, like chips.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, what?
Chips are
Anyhow.
crispy.
Yeah.
I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Joel, do you have an answer?
My first favorite is meat. Just all
Okay.
meat.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not allowed to eat it no more. And
Oh.
second would be fresh vegetables and fruit.
See, that's what I was going for with crisp, but
Is Silver paying you to say fresh vegetables and fruit?
No, I actually do like fresh vegetables. I was one of those weird kids that always ate my veggies.
how about Brussels sprouts?
Me too.
All right, well, there's your answers. We gave you a top two. Joel's is meat and fresh fruits and veggies. Ted's is savory and fresh crisp. And mine is butts and spicy.
Yeah.
In that order. In that order.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around.
Okay.
All right, shall we do the plugs?
Yes, okay. So, we have a few plugs. They're down here. We have Cutie Art Crusaders on Picardo. I can't say the link, so that, Google.
Look us up on Picardo. We're Cutie Art Crusaders.
Yeah, that. Go to picardo.com and type in Cutie Art Crusaders in the search bar. You'll say yes. We have cutieartcrusaders.deviantart.com. We have youtube.com/cutieartcrusaders, cutieartcrusaders.tumblr.com, facebook.com/cutieartcrusaders, and at cutieartcrusade on Twitter.
Awesome.
And our email account.
I said that.
No.
Did I? No.
No.
Okay, I completely
I
forgot
don't
that.
think so.
Cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com.
There you go.
Yeah, you can send us stuff. I don't know why that's not in here.
Weird. Anyways, all of the stuff is going to be on the screen anyways, so you guys should be able to see it there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is everything for this episode, guys. Burned will be back next week with stories about Everfree Northwest and maybe Prezzies. Although we shouldn't assume that. So
I think his present is like he might also like do some interviews with artists and stuff, and that might be up on our channel at some point in the far future.
I was gonna say I'm gonna start kicking your guys' butts. If you want to do videos, then edit them quicker.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Whenever I upload pictures or videos of my face and going,
I don't approve of this. All video requests must go through me from now on.
No, I approve of this. I want to see Joel making vlogger style videos.
Joke's on you. You think this is a democracy? It's not.
it's a cheerocracy.
It's a what?
Cheerocracy.
What is that?
Whoever's
Have you not
happiest
seen Bring
gets
It On?
this.
Oh.
No.
What? Who are you? Oh my god.
I also like Jar Jar Binks.
All right. Anyways, that is everything for this week. We have a spoiler cast as well right after
no,
this, so
we
stick
do
around.
not, because Pony's gone for a few weeks.
Is
Oh,
it?
is it?
It's not back until June 13th.
Really?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why did they delay episode 100?
I don't know, because they
Weird.
want to, like, hype it up or something.
All
I
right.
don't
So
know.
apparently there's no spoiler cast this week. So
Instead, we're going to have hiatus time with
that's not true.
not us.
That's not true.
Yeah.
If we were smart, we'd actually do that, but I don't really want to. So,
No.
anyways, that's it. We have any other post-mortem stuff to? God, I'm so business.
We talked about our panel a little bit last week. We still haven't really decided exactly what we're going to be doing, but we kind of have a general idea. It's basically going to be kind of like a live episode.
It depends on what we
but-
get to, right? Because
yeah.
like we haven't figured out the time, we haven't figured out the play, like we haven't talked about the place, and we don't know what equipment we'll be getting, right?
Yes.
So we have like a cool projector and like a laptop and stuff, then we can do more art stuff. But if we don't, then we can't exactly do a regular episode.
Well, I did request that, so we'll have to see. But
We'll see.
in any case, like we don't have everything kind of finalized yet.
But we will let you know. For
But
sure.
we will let you know, yeah. And as soon as we get more information, then we'll kind of get into planning mode, and then yeah.
If you are listening to this right now, or at any point, obviously, because you're listening to it at any point you want to, and you're going to BronyCon 2015, and you don't come to our panel, you officially hate fun, and I will cry. I'll cry.
Yeah,
That means I hate
true.
fun.
No, you're gonna show up there
You're
on
not-
Skype.
But you're
I'm
not
gonna
coming to
Skype you.
BronyCon. That's what I said. It's one of the criteria. If you're listening to this, and you're coming to BronyCon, and you don't go to the panel. Also, you are going to be there. We're going to call you.
Okay.
Yeah,
You gotta
you're gonna be
tell
on
me
Skype.
about that. When is it?
We'll let you know
in a
when we
while.
figure that out.
But what's
We
the
don't
date?
know, we
Like,
just
what
went
are
through
the
this.
what are the dates of BronyCon?
August, it's the beginning of August. It's like
Okay,
7th,
so
8th, 9th.
I will be.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna wake you up, basically.
All right. Anyways, we need to wrap this episode up. So, without further ado, thank you guys for watching. Whether or not you're on Picarto or on YouTube, we love you all the same. My name is Rainbow Plasma,
I'm FlutterGuy317.
I'm Apple Spark.
and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.